Hello, children. I welcome you to the first session of the chapter Ruling the Rural Areas. In the previous chapter of history, we have already discussed about the Battle of Buxar. After the Battle of Buxar, the East India Company got the right to collect revenue, that is, Diwani rights, in Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. The Britishers wanted to multiply their source of income. Their main aim of colonizing India was to exploit the resources of the country. Before the arrival of the Britishers, India was known for pottery making, iron smelting, etc. However, the Britishers took away all the refined raw material from India, and as a result, the handicraft industry declined and the people were compelled to become landless farm laborers. So, the main occupation during the colonial period was agriculture because all the fine raw material was taken away to Europe. It was converted into finished goods and then sold in the Indian markets. Now, since it was machine made good which was supplied by the Britishers in the Indian market, so it was cheaper and of better quality. So, the local traders, the handicraft industry could not compete with it, and the handicraft industry declined. In fact, the handicraft industry declined because all the raw material, the fine raw material, was taken to Europe. They did not have any fine raw material to produce goods. Then the Britishers started with Ijardari system. Actually, Warren Hastings introduced Ijardari system in 1772. In this system, the right to collect revenue was given to the highest bidder for a period of 5 years. The bidder was also called contractor. This meant that anybody who promised the East India Company that he would be able to generate maximum revenue was given the Ijardari right. However, the promises made by the bidders were not realistic, and the company was not able to generate high revenue because the bidders were not able to collect the revenue which they promised during the time of selection. So the highest bidder was not able to generate the revenue which was decided, and hence this system failed. So the Britishers introduced three different systems of collecting revenue. The three systems are the permanent settlement, the Mehlwari system, and the Ryotwari system. We shall be discussing about these systems in detail. So let's see what is permanent settlement. Now, permanent settlement is when the revenue to be collected was already fixed by the East India Company and there was no scope of revision, and so it is known as permanent settlement. So the system was introduced by Lord Cornwallis in 1793 in Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha, where the revenue was fixed. The revenue to be collected was fixed and it was not to be revised. The zamindar was supposed to collect revenue from the peasants and pay to the company before sunset on a specific date. If he failed to do so, then he lost the zamindari rights. The zamindari rights were hereditary in nature. They were actually hereditary in nature. The zamindars always strived to generate more revenue than the amount which they had to pay to the East India Company, and the remaining revenue was their profit. So this ensured that the company got permanent income, and the landlords were also on the side of the Britishers because they got permanent income, and that too the zamindari rights were hereditary in nature. After they died, their eldest son got the zamindari right. The peasants were forced to pay the revenue even during famines, earthquakes, etc. And the revenues were fixed at such high rates that it was difficult for the peasants to pay the revenues even when there was no famine, no earthquake. They had to borrow money from the money lenders. The money lenders also exploited them. They forged their signatures, they charged high rates of interest, they exploited the uneducated farmers by manipulating the accounts, and the zamindars also lent money to these peasants at high rates of interest. Their lands were mortgaged, and later on, the lands were lost to the zamindars and the money lenders. Now, there were certain zamindars who were full of mercy, and they found it difficult to extract such high rate of revenues, land revenues from the peasants. And since they were not able to generate the revenue and hand it over to the company before the sunset, they lost their zamindari rights. This is known as sunset law, where they had to pay the money to the company before the sunset. Now, the company thought that since the zamindars had to generate revenue from the peasants at any cost, they would do something for the peasants. But they did not. Rather, they shifted to the city and they came to the villages just to collect revenue. They did not have any mercy for the peasants, and the conditions of the peasants deteriorated, and many lost their lands. The peasants were also forced to grow cash crops such as indigo and cotton. Then let's discuss about the Ryotwari settlement. Ryotwari settlement was introduced by Thomas Munro, and so it is rightly known as Munro settlement. The system was introduced in Bombay and Madras. According to this system, the ryots or the collectors had to pay the revenue directly to the company. So, unlike the permanent settlement system, it did not have any zamindar. The revenue was collected directly from the peasants. However, the rate of revenue was really high. The taxes, the tax rate was as high as say 55%, and it was collected rigidly. They used all means, and peasants failed to pay the revenue, and there was no relaxation during floods, famines, etc., and the condition of the farmers deteriorated. Now, let's discuss about the Mehelwari settlement, which was introduced by Holt Mackenzie. It was devised by Holt Mackenzie. It was introduced in Punjab, parts of Uttar Pradesh, and central India. Here, in this kind of settlement, the whole village was considered a Mehel. Right? Mehel means the whole village. And the revenue was collected by the village head or the talukdar. The rate of revenue was not fixed, it was subject to periodic revision. Again, the rate of revenue was really high. So, as a result of all these three systems of settlement, the money lenders became very, very powerful. They took undue advantage of the peasants. Peasants were forced into the trap of debt. They were into the clutches of the peasants and the zamindars. Mercy, they were indebted, and ultimately they lost their zamindari rights. And then, if I talk of cash crops, the farmers were compelled to grow cash crops because the cash crops were in great demand in Europe. The European industries needed the cash crops like sugar, cane was needed to make sugar, tea was needed, coffee was needed, so they were forced to grow these crops. Now, these crops could hardly fill in their belly, and these crops were taken away from the peasants at very low prices. So the peasants were nowhere benefited, and then they could not fill in their belly eating sugar cane or drinking tea. And as a result of growing of cash crops, the farmers became impoverished, they starved, they famished. With this, I wind up this session and request all of you to revise page number 26, 27, and 28 of the book. Thank you and have a great day ahead.